Who says ODIs are boring? Well, the first ODI that was there between West Indies and India at Port of Spain, Shane, witnessed a real classic if you have to look at it. Ebbs and flows happened. It was a game of very, very fine margins. In the end, India came out victors by 3 runs.
Very close win.
Mohammed Siraj managed to defend 15 runs in the last over. Yes, there were moments of panic, but in the end, he just held firm. 3 runs, 1-0 India, and tomorrow is the second game. Hopefully, India does a much better performance. But yeah, Vimal Kumar, our correspondent who's there, he did say that after the match, India would not be that happy with the performance because they were well on course for reaching 340, 350.
Yeah.
But towards the end, the West Indies bowlers pulled their lengths back. They bowled well, restricted India to 308. Luckily, they got out of jail with some good bowling in the middle overs and in the death. Prasidh Krishna, an exception. Mohammed Siraj lived up to the hype and managed to deliver a good win. So what we have decided today, me and Shane in Sports Today today, is let us just evaluate. There was a lot of talk about the bench strength of this Indian team and the experience factor in the batting lineup. Because remember, 6 or 7 of your first choice players are not in this ODI team.
Arguably 8.
8. So who succeeded in this? We are going to mark every player from the scale of 0 to 10. If it's too harsh, 1 to 10. 1 is very poor, 10 is excellent. So we will debate the nuances of each player, why he deserves that rating, and then what is going to be his prospects for the T20 World Cup that will happen in October. We know most of the players who are going to go there, but among these, who gets a good chance? So Shane, shall we begin with the first name, that is,
of course,
the
Shikhar
captain,
Dhawan,
the one.
Skipper, exactly.
Shikhar Dhawan.
Now, obviously, I think when you're talking about Dhawan, there's a lot of question marks right now over his international future, not necessarily in ODIs, but again, he's never really been much of a, he's not played much test cricket in the last few years. He's lost his spot in the T20I squad, but in ODIs, I think he showed that he remains as consistent or as good a player as ever, arguably.
And he played the typical ODI innings. He started off well, but yeah, you can argue for the fact that the conditions in Port of Spain were such that utilized the new ball well, because the ball was coming onto the bat. Once it became softer, it would become difficult for stroke play.
Exactly.
But Dhawan, he ensured that he had the right momentum throughout the innings. 97 of 99, 10 fours, 3 sixes.
That's a perfectly good ODI.
Perfectly good. But yeah, the one criticism was that he could not convert it into a century.
That was the only
criticism. He's fallen in the 90s about 6-7 times now, and that is slightly worrying as an opener, because you would want to convert a good start into a daddy 100.
Exactly.
And the conditions were pretty right, because if the batsman got their eye in, they would score runs.
And don't forget, Dhawan is not someone who struggles in slow conditions. I mean, he's played a lot of cricket in Delhi. Delhi, we know the Firozshah Kotla, it was very much a pitch which, taught you how to play slow bowling very effortlessly.
Yes.
So not really much of a problem there. And he was taking on the spinners too after the point.
The slog sweep that he hit off Gudakesh Modi before he got out, it was a classic example. Dhawan knows how to play the slog sweep well. In the IPL, even in the slow conditions in the UAE and also in India, he managed to score runs. So Dhawan as a batsman, I will come to the captaincy point slightly later, but as a batsman, he ticks all the boxes for me in this game. Maybe the century thing they didn't convert, probably.
So let's just say 9.5 would have been a perfect 10 if he got 100.
I will just say 9. Okay. Now I come to the captaincy bit. The one criticism that I probably might have of Shikhar Dhawan as a captain was that he wasn't that proactive. If you saw in the bulk of the West Indies innings at that time, when Shamar Brooks and Kyle Mayers were stitching the partnerships, even when Romario Shepherd was going for the big hits, he was waiting for things to happen.
Yeah, rather than making things happen.
Yeah, he wasn't that proactive in trying to say, okay, let's build the pressure, let's apply the screws, and then we have got the game in our hands. Probably he was in that, okay, let it happen, we will not panic. That might work on some occasions, but it might be counterproductive in some occasions.
True.
So that 0.5 I will reduce for that. With because he didn't do well with he didn't convert the century. 0.5 goes for it. So my rating for Shikhar Dhawan in the first ODI is 9 out of 10.
9 is fair, I guess.
9. So we all agree on, me and Shane agree that it is 9 out of 10.
But again, you could do far worse than this.
Yes.
Hardly a criticism. If the only criticism is, oh, he didn't quite get 100. It's not much of a criticism.
It's not much of a concern, but yeah, you would want to ensure that as an opener,
you get those big scores once you've lasted that long.
Yep. Yes. And now we come to his opening partner. We all
Shubman Gill.
thought that there might be some other player coming in. Maybe
we were debating between Rituraj and Ishan Kishan. That was our thing, and most of us picked Rituraj because we thought, okay, you're going left hand, right hand, because you're not going two left-handers, and if you have Sanju playing wicket keeping is also sorted. So everyone thought it would be one of those two. Shubman Gill actually was a bit of a surprising pick, but I don't think he did too badly, all things considered.
He looked the best batsman out there as far as the stroke play and conditions were concerned. Looked at ease, and as is it with Shubman Gill, very, very pleasing to the eye.
Exactly. He's a very classically, aesthetically very beautiful player.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what was on display yesterday as well.
And as we had mentioned in the mid-innings live, that the work ethic that Shubman Gill shows, many people have complimented Shubman Gill for that. Say for Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh and all. Rahul had made a point that yes, Shubman Gill's work ethic will put him in good stead for the remainder of his career.
True.
We have already seen glimpses. Yesterday was his first maiden ODI 50.
Yeah.
But yet again, very, very silly running and very lazy running. Saw him run out.
That was very surprising, because if you saw the slow motion replay, he takes off really quickly, then slows down. Then when he realizes there's a chance that the direct hit might happen, speeds up a little bit again. So hardly ideal when it comes to running. At that point, if you're looking for a quick single, you dart. That's it. You don't stop, start, stop.
Yes.
This doesn't work.
And he was looking very good for a century or a 150. He was in that kind of form. So unfortunately, Gill squandered a very good opportunity.
Yeah, he could have actually gotten 100. He was looking very much at ease. In fact, in the beginning parts, he was actually playing his strokes far more effortlessly than after a point than what Dhawan was.
Exactly. So as mentioned, the opening duo of Dhawan and Gill managed to get going because the ball was hard. The pitch was still relatively up and down. The up and down nature of Port of Spain did not come up at that time.
Yeah.
But towards the end, it remains to be seen how Gill would have performed, but he squandered away a good start. So I would say, I would rate it 8 out of 10 for me.
I would go an 8 or 7.5. So let's just go with 7.5, because again, he looked very much in touch for a very big score, and it's not the worst performance in the world. Again, I think this is his first ODI he's played in a while.
Yeah.
So even keeping that in mind, but I think considering just how much at ease he looked in the conditions and the way he was batting, his form from since IPL time hasn't really fluctuated in what limited time we've seen. Again, even in the England Test series, he was batting with a lot of intent. And so I think that's something that we're used to seeing from him now. Yesterday he looked really good. 7.5 I think is fair, considering that we expected a lot more.
Yes. Now let us come to another person who's been under the news because his consistency has not been that great, and there is one glaring weakness against the short ball. Shreyas Iyer. Shreyas Iyer, when he was of 2 of 17, we all thought, okay, is it going to be another story of Shreyas Iyer again flattering to deceive? But then, credit to Shreyas Iyer, he did hang on. He got a 50. But the criticism yet again of Shreyas Iyer is he scores a 50 only against the West Indies. He's got a very good record against them.
I think last 4 matches that he would have played against them across formats, T20Is and ODIs, he's got 4 half centuries.
He's a beast against the West Indies. But when we saw that short ball barrage that Alzari Joseph was employing against Iyer, there was a clear-cut plan. Surprising, I think it might be effective in tests, but I don't think it might be effective in white ballers. He was ducking. No,
I think, and this is just me speaking up in a little bit of his defense, I think what his tactic right now is that he knows that when he comes out instantly, there would be a tactic right now, and plus he's probably thinking, okay, this is an ODI. I don't need to be going bang from ball 1.
Correct.
So there's no point hooking or looking to pull right now. Right now at that position, remember when he came in, Gill had gone and they had made a very good start. So he could take his time, duck,
Yep.
And then also yesterday, I thought personally there were times when the umpiring seemed a little lenient.
Yes.
There were quite a few times where I'm like, how is that not called a wide?
Wide, yeah. It was
There were quite a
high,
few
yep.
times. And anyway, so I think that's also why I think maybe he's going for it in white ball, because in white ball you have that limit.
Yes.
Unless you can consistently hit a length where the umpires are not questioning.
Yeah.
It's a questionable tactic, because even Alzari wasn't in control a lot of the time.
Yes, that's the major difference. The West Indies bowlers were not in control of the short ball. That way it was either too high or it was too wide.
Exactly.
So Iyer could easily duck in it.
And then when the time came that you look to take on, and he's generally, we know for a fact, he looked to attack spinners.
Yes. So he did attack the spinners. As we know, Iyer is a good player of spin. But my question remains that when it comes to the bouncy pitches in Australia, okay, where the bounce is truer, all bowlers might not be out of control like the West Indies. Suppose Rabada bowls in the yaw, but the bouncer, it is accurate most of the time.
Honestly, if you ask me, I don't even see him starting in that playing 11, because he's going to be, if you look at the middle order, it's pretty sorted. In fact, even the lower order.
Do you see Shreyas even in the 15?
See, in the 15, if you ask me, it's between him and Hooda. Because you want one option as a middle order backup.
Yes.
So I think it's between those two. Who of the two, again, it remains to be seen, because Hooda has done well in limited opportunities. Iyer is someone who's been batting a little longer but has this one glaring weakness. So it's going to be between them. But neither of them are playing in the 11, because 3-4 is going to be Virat and Surya.
Yes. So Iyer, what he might have done for the World T20 is probably, okay, I'm still there. But with this 50 that he hit, I'm still there.
He's shown that, okay, fine, in the rights, in certain conditions, I'm still a good player. And you can't discount me because I have a glaring obvious weakness, which, and again, if you guys had watched the video which we had done on Sports Today, we got it from Vimal. There was a picture, there were in fact stills and visuals of the fact that, you know, practice had been called off due to rain. But the one very key visual we had was that Iyer was in the nets indoors.
Yes.
And the bowling coach was bowling a barrage of short balls to him. He was looking to target and he was looking to play a hook. So he's quite clearly working on it. But of course, I think it will take time before he's confident enough to play the hook on a consistent basis where, you know, bowlers are not going to target him. Right now, it's a glaring, obvious bullseye on his back.
Yes, that's the
So if we're talking about ratings, again, you're right. Clear weakness against the short ball still there, but
he did hang in.
He hung in and he converted into a 50 at a time when things were looking a little tough. So again,
7.
I think a 7 is fair. That's what even I was going for.
A 7 for Shreyas Iyer, because look, if you make use of the conditions and if you make use of the opposition that you play against, you will contribute.
Exactly.
You can't blame Shreyas Iyer that, he's contributing only against the West Indies.
He's playing against who he's getting to play. I think 7 on 10 is a fair enough
And again, in the South Africa T20 eyes, he did show some glimpses of
There were times, in fact, where he was looking to hook.
Yes.
So I think that's a shot that he's working on. But again, easier said than done. Not everyone can just, you're not picking it up overnight. Yep. So it's obviously that is something that he knows is a problem. How long it takes for him to work on it, that's another different matter. Anyway,
now
number
the
4.
fourth person, Suryakumar Yadav or Sky. Kind of a very quiet game for Surya.
Very un-Sky-like innings is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Very, very unlike him.
Because he tried to steer the ball, got an inside edge and got bowled. So that was a very unlike Surya shot, and he didn't have anything much to do in the match after that. Yes, he did field in the outfield, he was solid enough, but yeah, he could. It's a missed opportunity for Surya.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you're Surya at this point, considering look, he's coming off a bit of an injury layoff, didn't get to play the whole IPL.
Yes.
Now you're getting these matches. Considering, look, with all due respect to West Indies, not the strongest of sides.
Yeah.
If I'm Sky, I look to bat as long as I can.
Yes.
Doesn't matter about this thing, because again, it's a different format.
Yeah.
You're playing ODI cricket. I'll look to bat as long as I can.
Yep.
That was, in fact, you could argue that him losing his wicket was one of the main reasons why then suddenly there was a lot more pressure on the lower order.
I think we are going to see that kind of a problem. But again, look, Surya is coming off a century that he had in Trent.
Yeah, and so that's why I think this innings is doubly disappointing.
Yeah.
You know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Sky is a classy batsman.
Maybe on the true pitches, say like in England or in Australia, perhaps on those true pitches he'll be lethal.
Yeah.
Because a true pitch means bounce and pace are almost on par, and you can play your strokes well.
Yeah, and Surya, we know for a fact, doesn't really struggle against the short ball.
Yes.
He will more often than not pull a hook.
Yep.
Very effortless.
He is Mr. 360 after all. So, Surya, it's a missed opportunity, and I think sluggish pitches could be his Achilles heel going forward.
Yeah, although I don't think that will be a problem if we're talking Australia. So,
Yeah, Australia is anyway flat decks.
yeah, flat, nice roads you'll get over there.
Yes.
That's okay.
So, I will rate him 4 out of 10.
I was going to say 5, but let's just go 4.5, then neither
4.
yours nor mine. Fine, 4 out of
4.
10.
Because Sky, let us not make the mistake of judging him on one format and applying that same thing on the other format. Because see, this is his first ODI after a very long time.
Yeah, and regardless of what kind of form he shows you, know for a fact he's a shoo-in for that team.
Yep.
He is. No two ways about it. I'm not even talking squad. I'm talking playing 11. He is there.
Yep.
So anyway, next up,
Hooda.
Deepak Hooda. Again, a bit of a missed opportunity if we're looking at how he went about things. I thought again that he could and should have done more. Again, I think like Sky, he's someone who just likes pitches which are a little truer. Although he does look to tongue spinners as well. So
Yep. So Hooda, again, I think he held the innings together. Okay. He held the innings together and ensured that India batted out the 50 overs. I will come to another person. I just deliberately put in Hooda because I'll be devoting more time to another individual after this. Okay?
I wonder who that could be.
Yes. We will get there. So Hooda, and the surprising thing is, in the middle overs, why didn't Dhawan bowl him out? 5 overs for 22.
Yeah, 5 overs for 22 is pretty good.
Pretty good, but then why didn't he bowl him out?
And also remember, this pitch, I don't think it became much easier to bat on once it was the second innings. Could have actually gone there. So,
Hooda, I would say he was pretty good, decent with both, but at least he ensured that the lower order did not collapse.
True.
He held it together. And then let's see, that was the difference, I guess. India crossing 300.
Exactly, 3-run win.
There was a period in 7 overs that India just managed 30.
Exactly.
Hooda and Axar Patel were really struggling, but then they held firm, did not panic, and then that is the result. So I will give it 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is fair.
6.
And
now we come to another major hot potato called Sanju Samson.
Oh,
Sanju
yeah.
Samson, yes.
This one is going to be fun.
Hashtag justice for Sanju or hashtag waste of potential. I really have no idea about it.
Yeah, because again, this was a perfect opportunity if you're a Sanju Samson.
Yes.
This ODI match up against not exactly the strongest opposition on a pitch that, while it might have been sluggish, didn't have demons in it.
Yeah.
You're batting at number 6 and you think, okay, you can take your time, get a quick fire 40-50. What does he do?
Yeah, number 5 and number 6, he was again batting on 12. Okay. Then he got an LBW decision. He reviewed it, but it was umpire's call because it was hitting the stump.
Exactly.
So Sanju wasted opportunity with the bat, and yet again the debate which was there on social media. Okay, Sanju Samson, is he being given a fair chance? I think he has been given plenty of chances, but he's not capitalized. I'll tell you why. Now, why Rishabh Pant goes ahead in this? Name any X-factor innings. You may argue that, okay, at the very beginning of their careers, Rohit Sharma was dropped. Okay, he didn't feature in the 2011 World Cup because he was struggling with injuries and form.
True.
Sanju Samson, 2014 onwards till now, coincided with MS Dhoni's era.
And then Rishabh Pant.
Can you name any X-factor for all the family members there of sports today? Can you name one X-factor knock that Sanju Samson played? You have to really Google and research, and you have to clutch for straws.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And the thing is, okay, fine, I understand there are debates that can be made, that, okay, he hasn't had a sustained run in one position, or, it's come and gone. But the thing is that with the Indian team right now, competition is so severe that very few, you have to have really made the most of your limited opportunity. Why is Shreyas Iyer still being persisted with? Because the opportunities that he was getting pre-IPL, he made the most of them.
He made the most of it.
You had 3 50s in 3 matches.
Against Sri Lanka.
Exactly. Yeah. That is why you ended up actually getting that long a rope. Because you know what the guy can do. He's shown it at international level. With Sanju, again, it's just, consistency has always been his bane. Always.
Again, yes. And Sanju Samson, again, I will just say this. 7 years on, okay, from 2015 onwards till now, whatever opportunities he got, he did not capitalize on. Everybody's talking, Rishabh Pant got a longer rope, Rishabh Pant got a longer rope.
Because Rishabh Pant was seen as an X-Factor player.
No, and again, slightly warped memory. Rishabh Pant was dropped when Riddhiman Saha started doing well.
Exactly.
Remember, in tests. ODIs anyway, Dhoni was there till 2019.
Yeah, so he didn't really get much of a chance in white ball cricket before that.
When did Pant capitalize on it? When Riddhiman Saha got that shoulder injury which effectively ruined his career.
Yeah.
So, and that is the reason why Rishabh Pant, okay, had Rishabh Pant not performed in Manchester, I think Sanju Samson could have crept up on him.
Or not just even Manchester. What if he didn't perform well in, Australia?
Yes.
Because at that point, he was the certified number one. Or at least as close to being a certified number one, he was the number one by default.
Yes.
Because as you said, Saha by that point was very much on the way out.
Yeah.
If Pant doesn't capitalize there, does he get that long rope? You remember, he wasn't even included in the squad for the
World Cup.
2019 World Cup.
Yep.
So it's not as if he's been like a teacher's pet who's been there forever.
Exactly.
He's also been chopped and changed a lot. In fact, that's one of the reasons why he's reluctant to have actually taken rest a lot of the time.
Exactly. And again, let me just tell you the circumstances surrounding Pant's chaotic 2019 World Cup inclusion. Okay.
Oh my God.
1 month to go prior to the World Cup, and even 2 months to go prior to the World Cup. One bad series against Australia.
Dropped.
Oh, Ambati Rayudu is suddenly not your number 4. Who do you then draft in? Vijay Shankar. Now Vijay Shankar,
who's not even a number 4, man.
Number 4. Or based on 2 performances that he had against Australia, you select him in the World Cup. So what have you done? You have effectively destroyed Rayudu's confidence. You managed to end Vijay Shankar's confidence. You ended it. Now he's nowhere in the fray, and he's not going to be in the fray in the next 3-4 years, because that's the bench strength. That's the depth of it. Rishabh Pant, when he came, he was included in the pressure situation against England.
Yeah.
And then in the match against New Zealand in the semi-final. Now, what did you expect? A Tendulkar-like innings or a Virat Kohli-like innings? It was impossible.
And there was chaos. It was a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
But Sanju, I agree that he's been a little in out of the team, but that's also been because I think the limited chances he's got. He's not had that one innings where you go, oh,
yes,
I need to stick with this guy.
Main criteria, Rishabh Pant has played an X-Factor innings. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli before being dropped. You cannot drop Virat Kohli because he's played about 50-60 X-Factor innings.
Exactly. How many matches has he won you while chasing? At one point in ODIs, that was pretty much the plan.
Yeah.
Let Kohli chase it down. It's okay. He'll do it.
No, when Kohli chased, India never lost.
Exactly.
They lost only 2 or 3 matches in the entire 5-6 year period.
Exactly.
Name any X-Factor knock that Sanju Samson has played, and unfortunately,
You don't see that.
very sad for Sanju Samson, he hasn't. If you count that 77 that he made against Ireland, I'm sorry, that is not the criteria.
Then by that criteria, Deepak Hooda should be starting every single game.
Exactly.
He's got a ton against them.
But, now this is where I will ensure that justice for Sanju Samson or Sanju is also validated. Final overs. Mohammed Siraj bowls a ghastly wide down the leg side. Sanju stops it like a goalkeeper. He saved 5 runs.
Yeah.
Had he not saved those 5 runs, that match could have gone to West Indies.
True.
Clear cut. Sanju was brilliant with the keeping gloves as the match progressed. He is a very solid keeper. Again, let us make it very, very clear around here that we have never debated Sanju Samson's keeping skills.
True. As a keeper, very good.
He has always been under the scanner for his batting.
Or the consistency in batting. Again, talent
Lack
is
of
there.
consistency.
Yeah, the consistency or lack thereof. Talent is there.
Yes.
You know he can play shots. We know he can be aggressive.
Yeah.
Can he be consistent? Always the big issue. So,
Yes.
what are we rating him?
And if you're looking at World T20 spot, okay, there's a big debate. Rishabh Pant is gonna start. For your backups, there is competition.
Yeah.
There is DK.
Yeah,
there is Ishan Kishan.
Exactly.
Behind DK and Ishan Kishan is Sanju Samson. How are you going to justify, on what grounds? Priori, what grounds are you going to tell DK, oh, you haven't performed, go. Ishan, no, you don't fit in.
Performed. Yeah.
Sanju, what grounds?
Yeah, at this point, especially considering this management team, they're pretty consistent with the way they apply their standards, let's say.
Exactly.
So at this point, I think, as we say, in terms of wicket keepers, it's probably Pant, DK, who are the top 2 competing for that keeper
Spot. And the main problem with Sanju, where do you bat?
That's the problem with Kishan also.
Yes.
He's more of a top order batsman. So I am assuming even if he goes to the World Cup, he's going as an opening backup, not a keeping backup.
Yes.
Because there'll be two keepers in the thing already, and you're most likely only playing one.
Yeah.
Most likely only playing one.
Look, Sanju Samson, according to us, we have discussed it ad nauseum. He will be part of probably the next cycle, that will be in 2024.
Correct.
In this current position, Sanju Samson has no place.
No, none whatsoever.
Not because of the consistency factor. What batting position will you play him in?
Even the consistency factor.
Even the consistency.
Even if he was, consistently banging runs, like see what they did with KL Rahul.
Yep.
KL Rahul, you couldn't bat him at his preferred opening slot in ODIs for the longest, even in T20s.
Yep.
Because you had Dhawan, Rohit who had locked those places down.
Exactly.
You accommodated. You put him at 3, 4. Can you at this point make an accommodation for Sanju?
You can't.
No, exactly.
What is going to be your batting order? We will debate ad nauseum about who is going to be your world T20 playing squad. Our batting order is very clear. Rohit, Rahul, Virat, Sky, Hardik, Pant. That's it.
Pant/DK if you want to put
Pant/DK. But Pant, I think, will be your starter. So that is your 6.
Then you have Jadeja as the 7.
Then you will get Yuzvendra Chahal. Then you'll have Bhuvi, Bumrah.
And maybe a Harshal or whoever's the
Harshal or Shami.
I don't think Shami.
Shami is wrong. Harshal.
Maybe Harshal or Avesh would be
Avesh, yeah.
Would be
your batting is sorted. Where do you fit in Sanju?
You're not. So what are we rating him then?
So
wasted opportunity.
Yeah, because of that one particular save. Okay. Because of that one particular save, I will rate him 5 out of 10.
Yeah, we're being generous here because we're picking that one save. Because if you're going batting, I would be putting him at par with Sky.
Look, we are considering that. Okay, we are considering the fact of all aspects. He didn't contribute to the bat, but with the keeping, he saved the match.
So yeah, let's just go with the 5 then.
Yeah.
So 6, and we have Samson or Sanju, whichever you want to go with.
And I rate him 6 on 10. Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry.
I would have rated him 5 out of 10.
No, exactly. I made a mistake there.
Yeah, okay. 5 out of 10 for me. So again, we are all basing this on the ODIs. And remember, Pant, even in the T20Is that he had against England, he gave them one match, he gave them a decent start.
And the thing with Pant is, again, if you're an X-Factor player, I'm not going to expect you to score 50-60 runs every match. But if you're playing 5 matches, win me 1 or 2 at least.
Yep.
You're essentially then as good as guaranteed a spot. That's the thing with X-Factor players.
Yes.
You want to always perform, but when they perform, they should win you the match.
Absolutely. And we don't know whether Pant will open in the World T20. That's also a big debate coming up.
At this point, because we don't know when it comes to KL, what is his fitness going to be like? What's his form going to be like? So there's a lot of questions there.
KL has a big injury concern. I mean, poor guy got sports hernia when he was fit, got COVID. He'll miss the first 2 T20Is, I guess. Hopefully, he should be back for the 3rd T20I that starts in St. Kitts. So, number 7 now. We go to Bapu.
Axar
Rajesbhai Patel. And...
well, what to say about him?
Well, he did do well with the bat. I mean, he held firm with Deepak Hooda, ensured that India at least batted till overs 47-48. And we got them closer to 300.
Yeah.
With the ball, he lacked penetration.
That's been his problem
That's
for a
been
while.
his major problem, yes. Axar really lacked penetration. Okay, even what was his major forte when he was with Delhi Capitals in the IPL of 2020?
Holding one end.
Holding one end up. That's also not happening.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're looking for someone who's a literal Jadeja replacement, what does Jadeja do? Give you valuable few runs lower down the order?
Yep.
And with the ball, if he's not taking wickets, at least it won't be expensive.
Yes.
Axar, his problem lately has been he's going for runs.
Yeah.
Wicket taking, let's leave out of the equation here.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. Very disappointing.
4 out of 10 for me for Axar. Because at least he held the innings together in that sense.
I will give him then for the holding, I will give him a 4.5. Being a little generous,
a little generous, yeah. Okay, fine.
Just a little generous, but yeah. Not the greatest of
4.5 out of 10.
Again, considering he's quite literally a backup, I think he should be chomping at the bits for opportunities like this. Again, there's no Jadeja for at least even the next game. So he's not getting dropped yet.
Yeah.
But
I guess
give the selectors a headache, right?
It's a simple thing. If Axar doesn't perform, Jadeja automatically slots in.
Jadeja slots in even if Axar does well, but at least give them a headache.
Give them a headache. That's not happening. That's not happening. So at number 8, we go to
Lord.
Lord Shardul Thakur. Again, this is going to be a very interesting. I'll mention my ratings for that a little later. Why? Okay. What was the margin of victory that India had against the West Indies? 3 runs.
Yeah.
Last ball of that innings, Shardul Thakur had hit a boundary. Number 4 very crucial runs.
Yeah.
With the ball, yet again, as you have mentioned it, you have pointed it out, he goes for runs,
And gets
but
the
he's a
wickets.
partnership breaker.
Yeah.
And remember, in that Shamar Brooks, Kyle Mayer's partnership, it was Lord who got us back.
And that's the thing with Shardul. I think people look at his economy and go, yeah, we can target him.
Yeah.
They target him, he'll bowl slower balls, and more often than not, he ends up getting a wicket because of it. So it's a very curious player in that sense.
Very curious player, and that is why, look, even if I have to look at him as a utility bowler in white ball cricket, okay, as a utility player,
Yeah.
he struggles to fit in primarily because of the fact that in T20s you need to restrict damage limitation. With Thakur, if you're going at over 10 or 12 per over, and that has been his economy rate for most of the parts in the IPL,
Exactly.
but you're bargaining on wickets, then what do you do?
You see, so it's something like, say, someone like a Shami, okay?
Yeah.
He can be a little expensive at times, particularly if tasked with bowling in the depth. Because he's someone who's more of a pitch it up there bowler.
Yes.
So very, very good in the beginning parts, power plays.
Yep.
Very good there. What is the trade-off you make? That he might be expensive, but he'll get you 20-something wickets in the course of the tournament.
Yeah.
Is Shardul getting you 20-something wickets in the course of a tournament?
Very difficult.
Exactly. He'll get you 1-2 wickets per game. Some matches he'll get 4. Some matches he'll get none. But average, it'll come up to maybe, I don't remember how much he got in the IPL this time around. But I don't think it
concede close to 9 economy
exactly.
rate.
A 9 economy bowler you're not taking unless you have 4 bowlers who are very tight.
Yeah. I mean, for Shardul, that is the problem. Look, he may be a partnership breaker, like how he did in tests, like how he did in this ODI at Port of Spain. But in T20Is, again, look, you've got the bowler with variations like Harshal. If there is one place that perhaps, if you want to extend your batting, even Harshal fits that bill.
Yeah, and the difference with Harshal is a little better at the death than Shardul.
Yes.
Shardul at the death can be hit or miss.
Hit or miss.
Either really
But the major problem with Harshal is lack of variations. He just has that low dipping full toss.
But then the same can be said of Shardul. His variation is what? He'll bowl a slow ball in different ways, either a knuckle ball or the rolling the arm over.
Way.
So it's still a slower ball.
Yeah. But 2 is better than 1.
But I think they see Harshal as an advantage purely because death bowling. Because again, you with Bhuvi there, he can be a death bowling option sometimes, but they're using him primarily up front because he was generating banana swing at times in England, which is very hard, mind you, on those tracks with a white ball. Very, very.
See, Bhuvi, Bumrah, and Chahal are your automatic starters in the World T20 playing 11. I'm going as far as saying in the playing 11. Now, my rating for Shardul, because of the impact that he had, is 6 out of 10.
I was going to go with a 7.
7. Not, I will not dispute that because he won you the game with the bat. That one.
I think if he was a little more economical, I'd be rating him 8. Because he actually, the 2 wickets he took were very important wickets.
Very. And West Indies were cruising at that time. And once again, because West Indies do not have the experience of chasing 300 plus totals.
Exactly.
Remember, in their entire playing history, they have successfully chased down 300 only once.
Exactly.
Never at home. Okay, it will show that 389 was done in the second innings, but they had to chase 420 against England.
Exactly.
So that is a very, very sorry state of affairs, if I may
I think 7 is fair because the only actual problem I had is his economy. Everything else he was fine. With the bat, again, few crucial runs here or there, 2 very key wickets, and in the death he actually came clutch. In all fairness, when you're looking Siraj and Shardul as your dead bowlers, you're actually a little nervous.
Even if you have to include the next bowler, the next player that we are going to add in this, a certain Prasidh Krishna.
He, I think, was easily the most disappointing of the bowlers.
There were some fears because why? Prasidh and Mohammed Siraj had very bad IPLs. Prasidh had a mixed IPL. He was
up and down.
But in the knockouts, that first game where he played against Gujarat Titans.
That's why I'm saying he was up and down. No, Gujarat Titans is very poor. Against RCB, he rebounded. But again, in the final, he was ordinary.
Yes.
That's the problem.
And Mohammed Siraj conceded the most sixes in the IPL. So Prasidh, and remember, It could have easily gone West Indies' way because Romario Shepherd missed one full toss of Prasidh. But in the second one, he did not.
Prasidh, the problem is, ironically, is the opposite of someone like a Harshal. No variation.
No variation.
He hits the deck hard, will get in around the 140s, mid 140s, good pace. Where is the variation? Pull it back, hit a shorter ball, try a slower ball.
That's the problem.
It's not there.
But again, if you say hit the deck, then Australia suits his bowling better.
Maybe that's why he's still in the scheme of things.
But I
don't see him being part of the
I
squad.
don't see him because see, same with Shardul. Are you going to, if Shardul has to board that plane to Australia, he has to play the T20Is.
Yeah.
Be it now or the Asia
And
Cup.
Prasidh, remember, even in England, was only playing the ODIs. So
Yes. I think what we may see is Prasidh and Shardul are part of your 2023 ODI plans.
True. I think they're going to be.
I don't think they're part of the T20 World Cup plans at
No,
this
I
point
don't
in
think
time.
so. I agree.
I would say Prasidh's display because his runs were pretty. I mean,
He got really
didn't-
smacked
He
after
really
that.
got smashed. He didn't control the runs. I would say 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I think he was probably the
I think he was the weakest link in
this
Indian-
bowling 11.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now number 10, Mr. Grandmaster himself, Yuzvendra Chahal, Yuzi.
Usually, right.
So Yuzi, I think yet again he bowled the tough overs. 10 overs, no maidens, 2 for 58.
And that's the thing, considering the experience or lack thereof of this bowling lineup, he had to bowl the tough overs.
He is the most experienced if you
by
have to look.
some distance.
Absolutely. And he did mention in the post-match press conference that whatever I have now learnt bowling the hard overs came during his time in the IPL.
Yeah.
Remember, even in 2017, the Kulcha duo bowled in the death.
Yeah, and even for RCB, because they generally always had a problem with fast bowlers, fast death bowlers,
Yep.
had one. He
Yes.
would always go to UZ at that point, which is a risk.
Yeah.
But more often than not, he would come clutch.
And remember, 2022, in the IPL death overs, you will look at the Rajasthan Royals. It was Yuzvendra
very
Chahal.
good. Yes.
Who can forget that game against Kolkata Knight Riders?
I can't.
5 wickets, 4 in 1 over. Kolkata cruising in the chase of
And they
230 collapsed.
Because they partly threw it away, but full
They
credit to
threw
him.
it away, but it was Chahal who got them back in the game.
Yeah.
And again, a leg spinner, a spinner bowling in the death overs.
Unheard of.
No one after Sunil Narayan.
Exactly. I think Rashid, no, but Rashid is also mostly middle overs.
Middle.
Yes.
Only Narayan and Chahal have that guts and gumption to bowl in the death overs.
Yeah, because you're there, at that point the batsmen are just going to swing.
Yep.
You have to back yourself and your variations at that point. It requires a lot of self-confidence. It's not
yes.
just about ability. Ability-wise, there are spinners who are good enough.
Yep.
Do they have the confidence to bowl in the death? No.
No.
Chahal is a different beast in that sense.
Yes. So Chahal, we will rate him 7 out of 10.
I think 7 is fair.
7 is a better thing because he bowled them.
He did the tough. He did the tough work.
job.
Exactly.
Yep. And the last man,
Siraj, my
Mohammed
God.
Siraj, forever under the scanner, forever volatile, the mercurial Mohammed Siraj. For me, the biggest mystery when it comes to Mohammed Siraj is how come his form in white ball cricket taper off after IPL 2020? When, remember, he was bowling brilliantly for Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Yeah, he wasn't poor in that sense. Like if you compare to 2022 was torrid for him.
Torrid.
But again, you have to remember that in 2021, who was the purple cap winner?
Harshal Patel.
RCB had no problem putting him in the auction pool and retaining Siraj.
Siraj, yeah.
Because they saw Siraj as someone who could lead the bowling lineup. Maybe not always get the wickets, but someone who could hold up an end and be be that person who would inspire or lead that bowling lineup, at least for the Indians.
Yes.
And considering he also was someone who had a bit of a trial by fire at international level, became the pace leader at one point in Australia almost by default. By default. It's not an easy position to be in. He did very well there.
Yep.
And remember, he had lost his father too.
Yes.
He chose not to leave the bio bubble, he chose to stay and play on. So that requires a lot of gumption. And that's the thing with him. I always root for the guy because of that.
Yes.
But at times his form doesn't really help him. Thank God he had a very good match.
He had a very good game, and the way how he controlled the Yorker accuracy and the way how he was nailing it,
that
made a massive difference.
That was his, calling card.
Yes.
If you had Harshal with the slower ones, you had Siraj who could nail Yorkers.
Yep.
This year, I think he just forgot how to bowl them at one point during the IPL.
He did.
It was too often he was either looking for a hard length or he was looking to go short.
Yes.
So it just didn't make sense. I'm thinking you can bowl a Yorker. If you're bowling in the death, target a Yorker. Look at what Bumrah does. He'll not give you a chance. He'll hit Yorkers.
Yes.
Siraj has the ability to hit a Yorker.
So everybody had said that the decision to give the final over to Siraj, everybody was confident because they all knew he could defend 15. So that is the confidence the Indian cricket team management has on Mohammed Siraj. And that will go a long way in his development. So the way how he nailed the Yorkers in Port of Spain was simply phenomenal, and it made a big difference. Even when Romario Shepherd was backing away, he didn't hesitate to bowl it on the pads, Yorker on the pads. But it did almost backfire spectacularly, thanks. But Sanju Samson luckily saved it. So Siraj, for me, he did live up to being the space spearhead. And I will give him a solid 8. 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think an 8 is good.
8.
Let's go with an 8 on 10, and that would be our player rating.
So the highest is for us is Shikhar Dhawan.
Again,
Unsurprisingly, Shubman Gill with 7.5. And Siraj tops the bowlers list with 8.
I think him and Chahal were the difference makers.
Sanju, we have rated him 5 out of 10. Because he made that one save, although yet again infuriatingly did not contribute to the bat again.
Again, such a good chance.
Sky had a very, you may say, quiet game. Prasidh was disappointing, but Chahal, Shardul, Axar kind of stepped up with more with the bat but less with the ball. Deepak Hooda also controlled the middle overs well, also steady with the bat, didn't slog mindlessly, although he tried, it didn't work. So these are our player ratings. Folks.
Let's actually check out a few comments till that point, and let's start with Austin Kuna.
Okay, stop.
Stop scrolling, please.
In 2020, Sanju got opening spot 2 T20s in New Zealand. He made 8 and 2.
Full series in Australia and full in Sri Lanka at number 4. Got opportunities but did not capitalize.
23, 15, 2, 12. And Sri Lanka at number 4, 27, 7, 0.
Exactly.
Those are the scores. Please, Austin Kuna, thank you so much. Those are the scores. Sanju, whenever he has gotten the opportunities, he hasn't performed. Pant in ODIs has done well. Pant has done well in 2 out of the 3 formats. Now, the same debate we will be having for Rishabh Pant's place in the World T20 if he does not do well in the West Indies T20s.
True, absolutely.
Because as we had said, Pant might necessarily be not as the automatic starter if DK does well. Now, because DK did well in South Africa, kind of tapered off in England. Okay, but West Indies series, let's see how he does it. So that is the thing. Vikram Talres, the point is you win only by 3 runs just because of your poor bowling. You have to give marks on line and then not on what they contribute. Vikram, no, again.
No, I don't think. I think if anything, you can be asking more questions of the batsman yesterday. There was a wee bit of a collapse. It wasn't a bad track. It was slow.
Vikram, I will just say this. India were restricted to 308 because they were looking well on course for 340, 350.
Exactly. If they had gotten that, the match would have been much over.
When Shamar Brooks and Kyle Mayers were having that good partnership, after the early dismissal of Shea Hope, we thought that, okay, maybe if India had lost the match, Vikram, the marks for Shardul, Prasidh and Siraj would have been a lot lower.
Exactly.
If Siraj had not defended 15, instead of 8, we would have given him 5.
Then he would have probably been up there close enough to Prasidh.
Exactly.
15 runs if you can't defend in the last over. There we go.
Big boy. Now, as per rating, Sky, Sanju, Axar, Prasidh have to perform a perish in the
don't think so. I don't think they're doing that. Look. Secondly, Sanju, I think is an interesting one. Maybe he needs to do better in the next. Axar too. Prasidh, I think this is one bad game he's had in a while. Again, in England, he looked okay.
He
was holding up an end. But he did that role well enough.
He did very well. So, look, again, for position competition, I'll again say this. Sanju is way down the pecking order. Sky had a very quiet game, but you expect him to bounce back.
Yeah, and plus he's just coming off 100 against England. You're not writing him off.
Yeah. Then the follow-up to that question by Vikram is, if you go with 7 bowlers, excluding Jaddu, then Hooda won't make it to the World Cup T20. Then tell me who's the backup for Pandya?
Who are the 7 bowlers? Hold on. You'd be playing 4 pacers.
Yes.
And 3 spinners. Yeah, actually, yeah. If you're counting Jadeja and Pandya.
But here he's not. Now see, Pandya's replacement, who were we debating on that day? I was thinking Hooda was the backup to Pandya, but because Pandya is a fast bowling all-rounder.
You don't have a backup.
You
for
don't
Pandya.
actually have a backup.
I think that's one reason why they fast-tracked Venkatesh last year, was because they were desperate for anyone who could bowl a little bit of pace and bat.
Yeah, but that has not worked.
I don't think that experiment is...
So Vikram, if we have to honestly answer the question, at the top of my mind, what I can recollect, there is no backup for Hardik Pandya. He's injured.
Not at
this point in
time.
At
this point, you're wrapping him in cotton wool and praying to every god possible that he doesn't get injured.
He doesn't get injured.
Actually, his form is also really good at this point. Remember? Yep. Let's go down.
Let's go down even further. Yes. I think it's the same repetition, and it is go up, Shivam. I think yes. Okay. What about Virat? Ritvik Boja is saying, what about Virat? Well, let's hope that Virat comes back in the Asia Cup.
Asia Cup, I think is going to be his return.
Because now look, India are going to play a total of, if we may say, 17 T22 T20Is now.
Yeah.
5 West Indies. In the Asia Cup, the format is such that you may play each team twice.
Yeah, so it's round robin proper.
Round robin, 6 teams, 5, so 10. India making it to the final 11, so 16. 3 matches against Australia and again against South Africa. 3 ODIs and 3 T20Is against South Africa, 3 against Australia. So you're playing a total of 22 T20Is before this. So there is time for all of you. So that is why I will say, okay. Something for Sanju fans who blame team management for giving Pant chances. Pant was dropped for New Zealand Australia T20 season 2020 and Sanju was selected. Well,
and he scored, look at the numbers.
64 in 6 innings at 10.66.
Yeah, not good enough. Again, as I said, the same thing. And by the way, in case any one of you says that, you're not consistent, I was saying the exact same thing for Axar.
Yeah.
Is that Jadeja's your first choice, but at least give the team management a headache.
Yep.
Don't take 3 wickets, 2 wickets, not even take a wicket. Be economical. Yep. Get a quick fire, 30, 40, 50, something. He's not giving...
He isn't.
Them headaches at this point is the same with Sanju.
Yep.
At this point, there are three wicket keepers who are ahead of him in that pecking order.
Sanju, unfortunately, again, he may be then the 2024 cycle, but I don't think his chances now in the 2023 cycle.
Yeah.
At least not in 2023.
Pawan Dakra, good evening from Melbourne. Well, good evening to you.
Good evening, Pawan. Yeah, good night for you. Yes.
Yeah, practically it's night.
It's night there. Yeah, it's 12:30, I guess, in Melbourne. And Hooda could be more useful for ODI World Cup, especially in India.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course,
I agree.
Yash God, yes, I agree with you, because at the end of the day, Hooda is a utility player. But again, you already have a spinning all-rounder in Ravindra Jadeja.
I don't think, if I remember correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in 2011, there were quite a few matches where India played 2 full-time spinners and still would bowl Yuvraj Singh for a few overs. Yep. So I don't think that matters. If you're playing in India and you have pitches which will slow down as the match goes on.
Yeah.
Perfect.
RJ is like saying, so Sidvi, can you please tell me 3 innings of Pant in T20 is not a test? No question of test plays, but T20, how many performances have you seen of Pant in 50 matches? Sanju has not been given chance. RJ, okay, just rewind about 5 minutes back. What I had mentioned, Pant is necessarily not an automatic starter for the ICC World T20. Why? Because DK is making a good move. Now, if Pant does not perform in the 5 T20Is that's going to happen against the West Indies, this debate that we're having for Sanju will very well now shift to Rishabh Pant.
Yeah, because then there's going to be a lot of pressure from DK in that regard.
It is.
Vikram, just to answer your question, I'll read it first.
Yeah.
So all discussions after World Cup 21 goes in vain when we were looking for a Pandya replacement, because Hooda will not make the cut. First off, I don't think Hooda was ever going to be a Pandya replacement.
Yeah.
A Pandya replacement would be someone who can bowl medium or medium fast pace and bat. There's no one, literally no one.
The like for like replacement.
That like for like is not there.
It's not there.
So Hooda at this point, I don't think is going to be there for that. In fact, I doubt that he's going to be a bowling option. I think he's in contention with Iyer for that middle order batsman, backup batsman slot. That's his slot.
That is the problem. And Wheel of Time is saying, Sid and Shane, can you please do an assessment of the support staff? There are few sharp fielders in the team. Did you look at how of our throws are to either end? Singles are just being handled.
Yeah, I think yesterday there was a little bit of a problem when it came to the fielding
part. Yes.
But
and yes, the game did drift away from India in the middle overs, especially when Brooks and Mayers were going on well. So, yes, I guess fielding will be an issue, but luckily they held on to their catches. The inner circle fielding, especially the keeping, was good. So, that is one ray of light to look on. But yeah, fielding is an issue.
Also, Ritwik Boja, no, the India squad for Zimbabwe has not been announced yet. I can guess why people are so eager, because now that rumor has come that VK might just play.
And again, we don't know when the series will begin because there is a World 11 versus India 11 that is going to be planned around that period of Independence Day.
Exactly.
That they all want to do because India is celebrating 75 years of independence and the government of India wants to organize a very, very high profile match.
Exactly.
So we don't know what is the schedule even for the Zimbabwe series, but it will be announced in due course.
And as soon as you'll know. So
yeah. And Austin Kuna, who is your favorite English and Hindi commentator? Hindi, I have none. English is, I may say, Ian Smith of New Zealand. And do you think Virat is the greatest ODI batter ever? He's the greatest ever.
Statistically, yes.
Greatest Indian batter? No, greatest ever. I will just say. I will go that far to say. Then Hardik struggled against pace. Pant is overrated in limited overs career. No good lower order batsman. Indian team of limited overs in downfall.
Ravi Jadeja. 2 words. Anyway, I don't think that, I don't think that Pandya struggles that much against spin.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a bit of a... Anyway, I think we'll take one more question if we can find any.
Yep.
No, we're not really finding anything. We've answered most of these. So I think we're bringing this show to an end.
Let's bring a show to an end. So thank you so much for joining us for this live ratings of all the Indian players. If you disagree with our ratings, comment, like, share and subscribe to Sports Today. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Tomorrow, Super Sunday indeed. For F1 fans, Shane is going to bring you the French Grand Prix. For all other 1.3 billion fans, there is Neeraj Chopra
early in the morning, and we will be bringing you that. Sid will be joining you guys live.
Yes,
and of course, India versus West Indies. ODI.
Yep.
We're hoping India can wrap that series up.
Exactly. So, goodbye guys. Tata.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome.